So when you think about Chiefs players whose stock was pretty low coming into training camp, there's one in particular that has answered the call and has shown how versatile he can be. On top of that, with the pads on, he worked in with the starters and saw a ton of targets today, which is going to make for a very interesting wide receiver battle. So we've got to talk about that and more highlights from today's practice, but not before I look at the Raiders continuing to act like the poverty franchise we've always known them to be. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? All right, first up, before we even get into today's first training camp practice in full pads, lots to talk about there. I do want to talk first about the Raiders deciding to add fuel to the fire for this season that really wasn't needed at all via a video that went viral. This video featured their 7th round rookie safety Trey Taylor and a Kermit the Frog puppet that a fan brought and was made to look like Mahomes.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
And I don't even fault the rookie too much here, as a fan brought this and probably threw it to him. He picked it up, and then you saw exactly what happened. It all was over in a matter of 5 to 7 seconds. He's also never experienced the bitter taste of defeat from the Chiefs, which you can clearly tell from the ignorant smile plastered on his face, though that smile will soon be wiped away, don't worry. And I'm not sure who said it, but if you listen again, somewhere in that clip, Mahomes was referred to as a female dog. You know, a bit. Honestly, the only ones here that resembles anything to do with a female dog is going to be the team that hasn't won a playoff game since 2002 and just watched the Chiefs win a Super Bowl in their own stadium before they've even won a playoff game in it. But I digress. Actions are what speak the loudest here, and Patrick Mahomes is 10-2 against Vegas in his career with a passer rating of 109.6 and has thrown for over 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, and just 4 INTs in those matchups. And while I can't appreciate the humor of the Kermit the Frog thing, because we all know Mahomes kind of sounds like him, this is nothing new, old news here. I have no idea why they went ahead and gave the Chiefs more ammo, as if they aren't already pissed off enough about the loss to that poverty team on Christmas. After this clip went viral, by the way, the original guy who uploaded it deleted it. The internet's forever though, so we have access to the video everywhere. He then apologized to safety Trey Taylor and also to Raiders cornerback Jack Jones, because Jack Jones went to Twitter, tagged this guy who initially uploaded the video and said, "You lame as for that, dog. You know what you did." So when you even have Raiders players themselves calling out the guy, you know they didn't appreciate that being shared one bit. And the reason why I'm even talking about this is because Patrick Mahomes was asked about this very video in his presser today after camp practice, along with his initial thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early in the year. Kind of stuff like that happens. It'll get handled when it gets handled.
It'll get handled when it gets handled, which means the Raiders effed around and are about to find out once again. Mahomes then added that nobody sent him the clip. He saw it though, and he's the type of guy that doesn't need any extra kind of motivation to go out there and want to win games.
Not really, honestly. Everybody kind of just lets me play. I mean, they know how I am, so they don't need to send me anything to keep me motivated.
And if that wasn't enough, Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce was also asked about this today, and here's what he said.
Like after practice, there was a video going viral with the Kermit doll and whatever. Do you like leaning into that kind of stuff, talking trash, or do you kind of tell the guys to stay away from that?
No, we addressed it as a team yesterday. We nipped it in the butt. It's over with.
It's not really over with, though, because even if Mahomes says he doesn't need any extra motivation, other players like safety Justin Reid will definitely use it. He took to Instagram yesterday after this happened and said, "This game just got more interesting on the calendar." And with all that being said, what do you guys think of this Kermit puppet video and Mahomes being called a female dog? Is it all in good, humorous fun with a division rival, or do you think things went a little too far there? Based on also the responses of Jack Jones and head coach Antonio Pierce. Let me know either way in the comments down below. And from here, we got to get into the Chiefs' full practice and pads, which featured the return of Xavier Worthy, Kadarius Toney getting a lot of targets, the defense dominating the day at times, and more. But before I do, I got to shout out the season-long sponsor of today's video, Underdog Fantasy, the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. And boy, do I have some exciting news for you all. Underdog just released their new product product called Streaks. Streaks is the newest way to play Pick'em. All you got to do is make a Pick 2 entry, and if that Pick 2 entry hits, your streak begins, and you'll have to hit 9 additional Pick 1 entries at your own pace. Then if you go 11 for 11, you can win 1,000x on your money. That is a truckload. And for my Pick 2, I went with the higher on Mahomes throwing 264.5 passing yards week 1 against the Ravens. He's 4-1 in his career against them and averages 344 yards a game. Then, of course, I had to go with the higher on Derrick Henry getting more than half a receiving or rushing touchdown, because since 2018, he's averaged just over 13 rushing touchdowns a year, which is close to 0.75 touchdowns a game. I put $5 down on this, and if my streak lives on to 11 in a row, that's $5,000. And to try streaks for yourself, just scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Sign up using promo code HBTC to claim your special Pick'em in the lobby, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. And speaking of underdogs, a receiver that has become a fan favorite even last year during his rookie year, at least in the offseason before getting injured at training camp, was wide receiver Nikko Remigio, and the hype is starting to creep back up a little bit as he's a guy that could get some more looks with Justin Watson out due to injuring his foot. More on Remigio here in a bit, but Andy Reid actually gave an injury update today during his presser that included Justin Watson. He said Justin Reid and Justin Watson didn't practice today, but Xavier Worthy was back out there working after having to quarantine due to having strep throat. Worthy wasn't a full go out there yet, as they are currently ramping him up after him returning from sickness, which is also actually what they are doing with running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I have no clue what his illness was, but he was sick, I believe, the first day of camp. And it's worth noting when we talk about Deneric Prince in the running back room here in a bit. Regarding Justin Reid's quad injury, though, Big Red doesn't think he will be out that long. It's been 9 days since the injury, and Justin does not like to miss practice, so it's driving him crazy. Meanwhile, Justin Watson, wide receiver Justin Watson, who injured his foot on this awkward play here during practice yesterday, is working back from the foot issue, but Andy said there's no timeline on his return, at least at the moment. It's currently day-to-day, and I absolutely hate hearing day-to-day because it could literally mean Justin Watson might return here in a few days, or it could be a few months. It's the Wild West of Andy Reid's phrases and could mean just about anything. Some good news here, though, about another player who had an injury scare yesterday after being seen with the trainers was defensive back Nazeeh Johnson. He was back out for the first day in pads, working in with the first team defense. So when he left practice yesterday on the cart, it definitely was just precautionary after all. When out in the nickel, it was actually McDuffie in the slot like he often was last year, with Joshua Williams and Nazeeh Johnson on the outside. Meanwhile, Brian Cook and Shamari Connor played the safety roles, with Justin Reid still not practicing. Speaking of the defense, they came out firing today, putting pressure on Mahomes and tallying up multiple would-be sacks, like this one here from Chris Jones, who flew through the line. Deneric Prince wasn't quite able or ready or expecting him, and that would have been a sack, but when you have no contact, Mahomes threw the pass. And when you have no Joe Toney at the moment, with Mike Caliendo filling in his reps with the first team offense today, and a rookie in Kingsley Suamataia out there at left tackle, that's going to be the weak spot of the offensive line for sure. The good news is it looks like Kingsley got the go-ahead nod as the left tackle with the starters today, and that says more about the left tackle battle than any other day prior before the pads were on. Anyway, the weakness being on the left side with Joe Toney out and Kingsley a rookie was a bit evident here on this rep, where Felix Anudike-Uzomah would have gotten home to Mahomes on an inside stunt, but since contact isn't allowed, Mahomes got it out to Hollywood Brown for a completion. It looked like FAU just went untouched through there on that play. A little concerning, but Coach Reid noted that FAU also has a quicker get-off this season. He's more comfortable getting upfield and moving, and his confidence has grown as well. That was echoed by FAU today when he spoke to the media. He said he's been working with Tom Bahali and George Karlaftis in the offseason, and it's been helping both of them to get better from their get-offs to their handwork. FAU stays learning from the vets and is happy to be back out here at camp for year 2 and just get better. He's been working on that get off all offseason long, with coaches saying last year that was the biggest thing he needed to work on this offseason. So he's been working on just that, plus having Tom Bahali around to help Can't hurt at all. It's also a plus that he's healthy this offseason, so he's got more confidence for this year since he's been training all offseason long, much more consistently, and it looks like FAU's hands have also gotten stronger with definite progress being made, so that's a great sign for the former first-round pick entering year 2, and we need this man with the defensive end room a bit thin as it is. They made a signing for another defensive end. I'll talk about that here in a moment. But even though the offensive tackles struggled at times against the defensive line, Kingsley appeared to show a much stronger presentation in the run game, even cutting off Nick Bolton on this outside run here. And then here as well, when he was able to create a solid lane for Deneric Prince on an outside run. More on the running backs in a moment as well, though, because the Deneric Prince hype train might be back. But Andy Reid mentioned that all 4 tackles, Kingsley and Taylor with the 1s, Wanye and Lucas Niang with the 2s, are all out there working hard. Kingsley looks nice so far, but he's working through things as a rookie and still learning. That's the key, though. You just got to keep working and growing throughout camp. Then when you have somebody as great as Chris Jones on the D-line opposite you, it's only going to force you to try and be better. Jones had another would-be sack on Mahomes here on this play, but Mahomes lets it fly deep to Worthy, and Joshua Williams has an excellent PBU. Then defensive end Mike Dana is another guy on the D-line looking sharp, which you could also see in his 1v1 reps here against Kingsley, with Andy Reid noting that Dana goes 100 miles per hour every play, doesn't say a word, and just works. This was probably part of the reason why Mahomes and company appeared to be out of sync today, a bit out of sync, with Mahomes overthrowing his targets a few times and Ron Kopp Jr. of Arrowhead Pride noting that they simply couldn't get on the same page. Patrick completed one pass to Hollywood on a check down, and that might have been the gist of it, at least in the first portion of teams. It's only day 1 in pads though, so there's plenty of time to get it right. Mahomes didn't seem overly concerned about it, saying, yeah, they missed on some deep routes earlier today, but hit some earlier on in camp. They just got to keep working and building that chemistry as camp moves along, and working against such a great defense is only going to help make them better. He complimented Hollywood Brown, saying he's a fast guy, yeah, but that's not all he can do. He can be used shallow, intermediate, and deep, and is great at all of them. Then you have the speed of other receivers as well, like Worthy, among others, like McCole Hardman, even Kadarius Toney. Then Rashee Rice has taken that next step up heading into year 2. Mahomes noted that Rice came in this offseason in better shape. He's explosive, catching the football down the field as well as underneath, getting yards after. Hollywood and Rice train together all the time, pushing each other to be great, and that's only helped Rice's game further. And basically like every year since Tyreek Hill got traded, aside from Travis Kelce, who you can see getting plenty of targets, and also saw a target here from Mahomes on this nice pass when he scrambled left. He caught it, then pitched it like a lunatic to Isaiah Pacheco, who took it further up the right side. We'll probably see more of that in real games as well, but I had to show you that play. But aside from Kelce, Mahomes mentioned a few other receivers who are going to be seeing targets this year. Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and even Xavier Worthy, the rookie. He's one who should get better and better his rookie year, and because of that, you won't be able to game plan against just one guy, that's for sure. And he even mentioned that when you get the passing game better, it's only going to help even further in the run game. And before we talk running backs, one receiver many are watching to see if he will be another Mahomes looks for if he cracks the 53-man roster is Nikko Remigio. He had a very solid catch here on a one-on-one rep against Nick Jones, and also another one against Joshua Williams if he managed to maintain possession there. He's a guy who might be getting more looks from Mahomes with Watson sidelined for a bit, but I'm not sure how much first-team work he got today. There's a clip of him here getting the ball punched out after attempting to haul in a pass from Chris Oladokin, and that appears to be getting work in with the third-team offense, at least to some extent. However, Mahomes himself said that Nikko is always willing to work, is asking the right questions, and you can tell he takes his craft serious as he's only gotten better. Another receiver out there today getting a lot of looks was Kadarius Toney. He was getting plenty of reps with the starters and then also with the second team offense as well. Wes Roche of A to Z Sports said he likes what he saw from Toney today as he made a lot of grabs and is working hard on his routes. So you have that going for Toney, plus the fact that they've been using him as a running back and he's looked solid in the punt return game as well. That's only stock up for Kadarius Toney, in my opinion, as he's looking good to make the 53, even though it's still very early. So while Toney's out there making the most of his opportunities, Sky Moore could be seen getting absolutely walloped on this route here by Deion Bush as Carson Wentz passed him the rock. And Sky is one whose stock is already down early on at camp, with the ball seeming to constantly be just out of reach for him. And this happened again at today's practice as well. So Sky stock is down. Meanwhile, Kadarius's is up, and maybe also a little bit the stock of Justin Ross. Carson Wentz threw this ball up for grabs in the second team offense's 2-minute drill for a score, and Ross made the leaping grab over the top of Kelvin Joseph, maintaining possession as he was able to get his knees down, and the result was touchdown, Kansas City. Carson Wentz reportedly looked very sharp today, making multiple completions, albeit against the second-team defense, but still. Andy Reid said Carson Wentz is doing a heck of a job. He's a fast learner, wants to do it the right way, and they are fortunate to have him here as QB2. Next up, with the pads on, the running back room is getting a bit more attention, and Rees-Zammit got his first official snaps in pads, but wasn't able to do all that much with the second-team O-line blocking for him. It's going to take some time anyway. However, one running back who has continued to get a lot of reps, including today, getting reps immediately after Isaiah Pacheco, is the second-year back in Deneric Prince. He worked both with the ones after Pacheco and then split second-team reps with CEH. PJ Green of Fox 4 said it might be time to start the Deneric Prince hype train again, with him taking the bulk of the reps on the second long drive of the day, plus catching a wide ball on the flats in the red zone. Apparently, Prince snagged a check down from Mahomes, beat Bolton's angle, and lowered his shoulder into Cook for the score. So, Deneric Prince's stock is also up so far, though I believe that's how things looked for him initially at camp last year. Then he struggled more so in the preseason and was unable to crack the 53, but this year, maybe, just maybe, could be the year for Prince. Let me know what you guys think, though, at least so far, regarding the Prince hype train. And then the Chiefs made a roster move today, waiving linebacker Luquay Washington to make room for edge rusher Owen Carney. Carney was an undrafted free agent out of Illinois in 2022 who signed with the Dolphins shortly after the draft, but did not end up making the roster. He then signed on with the Bengals, but was released after the preseason last year, so after the 90-man roster cutdowns. And this year, he was planning on playing in the UFL for the Birmingham Stallions, but instead is heading to Kansas City to try and crack the roster, or maybe the practice squad. He's listed at 6'3", 275 pounds, and had a monster senior year at Illinois, where he racked up 46 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 6.5 sacks. And while he hasn't caught on yet in the NFL, the Chiefs are thin at the position like I spoke earlier, with Charles Omenihu still working back from the ACL tear, and BJ Thompson still recovering from his health scare. So this is a low-risk signing that at the very least gives the Chiefs a fresh camp body. And with all that being said, let me know your thoughts on this signing, the defensive line overall, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video from Saturday's practice. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?